Greetings YouTube and welcome to the Blue Corner. In this video I'm going to be picking apart a single screenshot that we got in the recent episode of Cardfight Vanguard B because it pertains to Granblue. Now I didn't know what to really title this video because calling it Granblue spoilers or Granblue reveals would kind of be on the whole misleading clickbait side, and I don't really want to be associated with those type of videos. So instead, yeah, I'll think of something. But long story short, though, we got to see a clip of Goki's deck in the recent episode. If you want my thoughts on that, feel free to check out my review on my blog. There's a shameless plug for the video, and it contains pretty much a good bulk of Granblue's cards in the upcoming Asia Circuit set. And most of the cards provided in this picture are retrains of known units. The two outliers are the grade 1 on the far right, which looks to be a new Ghosty, and then this crit trigger that's in between the first crit trigger and the heal trigger. Now, I suspect that the Ghosty is the 7k base, 15k shield grade 1 that both Mega Colony and Oracle Think Tank have copies of, and all Protect clans will be getting this type of thing, just like how all Excel clans get a 9k grade 1 but with 0 shield value. And generally speaking, these two types of units are the least useful of the bunch, so I could see that actually being a 3 of. Important to know, though, that it will be a normal unit with the Ghosty name, which will be of use with Negro Lily to some extent. So let's get that one out of the way. And yeah, so what we see here, we can see that we've got things like Guiding Zombie, Night Spirit, Rick the Ghosty, Gustin, what's his name? Evil Shade, Dancing Cutlass, Romario, Captain Night Mist. Yes, he is a grade 2. People thinking that this was going to be made a grade 3. I don't understand why you would assume that, because V has been pretty strict on what on cards staying their original grade, with the exception of some of the grade 1s and 0s being downgraded to grade, in some cases, grade 1s becoming grade 0s so that they could be draw PGs. But like Night Mist was going to stay grade 2, and that's not changing. On the Blood though, this Night Mist looks hella swagger. We also see Commodore Blue Blood, Ruin Shade, and then we've got Baskirk as the VR, and of all things being the backup grade 3 with the gift on it, we've got Undead Dragon Skull Dragon, which is actually pretty sick because we didn't actually get this in set. It was a promo, and I'll be going over like the artworks and the original effects to a greater extent, as well as just my speculation on what Granblue will do in this set, because now that we've seen Oracle Think Tank and some of Mega Colony, I have a bit of an idea of what standard Granblue will be and whether or not some of these cards will mesh in well with the premium deck, which will undoubtedly be Night Rose plus some of these cards coming in. Depends on what Skull Dragon I think will do, because I don't know if we'll play Baskirk in premium, because he'll probably be Vanguard strict only, and you still want to be on Night Rose. However, if either this here backup grade 3 has a useful rearguard skill, and we also get another useful grade 3 rearguard, then I could very well see us dropping Night Storm from the lineup, and very well Starlight, and if you're still playing it, Gas Dragon or Zombie Whale. So with that being said, let's go over these cards and I'll theorize on some of their possible effects. So Guiding Zombie is our Forerunner as usual, and just like any V-Series Forerunner, he's going to be, when you ride on top of it, draw a card. This one I don't really need to speculate on. Then for the triggers, we've got Rick the Ghosty as the heal trigger, which, was he our original heal trigger? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, okay, Onslaught of Dragon Soul. So this was our first heal trigger, 20k shield, and I do know that the effect trigger that Granblue gets is also a Ghosty. I don't know if this will see play over that one or not. There are definitely merits to both. This guy having higher shield value and the plus 10,000 shield is really, really important, because Night Rose in particular was always the type of deck where it likes to come at you with multiple small attacks that hit just high enough to deal with most Vanguards that get one defensive trigger in the old format, but the 10k power that new triggers give kind of stops your combos a bit short, so being able to get the higher power off of your own triggers will be of great benefit. Gustin is being retrained as our draw perfect guard, and just like the other draw perfect guards, this one does not care how it's placed on guard circle, it just has to be on there. So this will work with our 1G Guardian, Negranola, who can call this out from drops on the guard circle and thus allow you to get the perfect guard off. In addition to this, being that we are a Protect clan, we will have access to perfect guards on demand whenever we ride certain grade 3s, which in itself will be pretty powerful. It allows us to actually get away with maybe running a couple less copies of our normal perfect guards, particularly Water Spout Jin or Seawall Banshee, depending on your build, and we can add in more grade 1s that allow us to combo harder in premium format. And that's actually something that will be, I think, kind of relevant. So we could actually get away with playing 3 normal perfect guards, or not even playing them. We just play 4 Gustians. It depends on the format, really. Okay, so like, hang on a sec here. I don't even, what am I talking about? Like, we'll probably play 1 draw Gustian and probably 3 Water Spout Jins, so we have access to that, because Gustian gets around grade 1 guard restrict, and you can call it off of your G Guardian in order to trigger its perfect guard effect. But the Night Rose deck is still more very likely to mill out if you play X number of draw triggers, which I am not a fan of. Whereas in standard, we can actually get away with playing draw triggers because we're not milling out or going through our deck as much as Night Rose. Because really, when you think about it, when Night Rose plays, you're going through 6 cards a turn, 3 off Triple Drive, and 3 more off of Night Rose's Generation Break 2, which the longer a game goes, works to your disadvantage. Whereas in standard format, you're just going to be getting your twin drives and maybe like 1 or 2 extra cards, depending on what cards you're playing in your deck. I know 1 grade 1 that I'll be playing in standard, and subsequently, we can get away with playing 4 draws in that format. So there's just my little speculation on that. Night Spirit is our crit trigger, so 10k power off of it. This will probably say play over Rampage Shade. Rampage Shade's good, but having this extra oomph is also pretty important. I don't know if I will cut Seawall Banshee though, not Seawall, but Rough Seas Banshee. I don't know if I would cut that because it builds up soul for Go Watch and its draw power and allows you to play out of some really clunky hands. However, I will not deny that the plus 5,000 power on offense or defense is a bit of a thing. So we'll see how it goes. Like, I think I've seen some Nova Grapplers in V-Series still run Red Lightning just for its immediate access. So if there's any original trigger for Granblue that I play in Premium, it'll probably be Rough Seas Banshee. And then we don't know what that other crit trigger is, but it looks an awful lot like Hungry Mimic. Although I don't think it is, so it might actually just be another part of the Hungry Mimic family. So, I mean, Hungry Mimic may very well be our other draw trigger in the set, but I don't know. Like, the important thing is we are getting 2 sets of crits in this set. Every clan so far gets 2 sets of crits, 2 sets of draws, and 1 set of heals, unless you're an Axel clan, which you get 2 sets of fronts in each set. So that's the thing. We also get our grade 0 and grade 1 perfect guards. So you have access to your cheap option if you don't want to spend the money on the double air perfect guards, which will not be a problem because this is Granblue, and Granblue is not expensive when Night Rose is not involved. And even then, when Night Rose is involved, the deck is still pretty cheap. Like, Granblue has always been a very inexpensive deck to build, aside from Phantasm Night Rose on release, but eventually she started tanking, so this will be a very inexpensive and I think solid deck to play. Then for our grade 1s, we've got Dandy Romero confirmed to be in here. This was our 8K vanilla in the original series, and I think what he's going to do is very similar to, or rather this, so before I get into how I think this guy is going to work, I'm going to get into how I think this deck is going to work in Premium. So, not Premium, but Standard. So, I've noticed that Oracle Think Tank and Mega Colony both have some form of deck filtering, which allows them to try and hit triggers easier while also fielding units that get big. Oracle Think Tank does this through the form of its scrying or draw 1, scry 1. Mega Colony so far has search for grade 3s everything and also get big guys. So what I think Granblue will do is I think they're going to be able to selectively mill cards into the drop zone, which will thin their deck of non-trigger units and also build up their drop zone for their much more powerful plays. And Dandy Romero may very well do that. He may be, when it's placed on rearguard circle, look at the top X cards of your deck, choose up the 1 card from among them, put it in the drop zone, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order, maybe on top, shuffle, we'll see. And then he'll get plus 5,000 power until the end of turn. And then he might also have a continuous skill of retire this unit to do a thing. OTT's grade 1 8K has the ability to, actually they've got two. One is when it's written on, you draw a card. And you've also got the Gemini Elf or thing. What are they called? I don't know. You can put it into the soul to countercharge one if you have 3 or more damage. I could see Granblue having some guy that sacks itself off in order to countercharge one, which would be important because counterblast management is a very important part of standard format. And it's one of the reasons why Nova Grappler is not doing very well, is because that deck just dies to being counterblast starved. And whereas Oracle Think Tank and Cogger are able to make their plays off of very little counterblast, and is why I feel like they're the 2 best decks of the format. Then we got Dancing Cutlass. This one I think will be pretty straightforward. Oracle Think Tank's Luckbird is Soul Blast 2, get plus 6,000. I can see this being pretty much the same thing. Evil Shade is the one I don't know about, because the original one is if you boost a Granblue Vanguard, you can mill 2 to give it more power. It was a 6K, whereas this one I think is 8K. It's really hard to tell what this guy's stat line is. He might be able to mill. He might be able to selectively mill. I do think this guy will get big, and maybe he'll have some kind of on-play skill. But I think it'll have something to do with boosting the Vanguard. Like Oracle Think Tank has a grade 1 where if it boosts and you have 3 or more damage, it makes your guy even bigger. So it could do a very similar thing. I just hope it doesn't involve milling, because even though I did just talk about how standard Granblue will probably not deck out nearly as fast as premium, it's still an issue I don't really want to be flirting with, especially given how grindy standard format tends to get. Then for the grade 2s, we first got Captain Night Mist. This is, again, one swag-ass looking guy. Like, look at this guy. Look at him standing there. He's looking at you going, yeah, I am the captain here. And the original one was actually not that bad for its time. If you had another copy of it in the drop zone and he was your Vanguard, you got plus 3K, which was but I can see that actually transitioning over very well into this form of Night Mist, where if you have another copy of it in the drop zone while he's on Vanguard or Rearguard, he gets plus 6,000 power on attack, so he would be your 15 attacker, Armor Dragon Night Clone. And then the original one also had the skill of Counterblast 1, sack a grade 1 or greater Granblue to call this thing from drop zone to Rearguard. I could see him having the exact same skill, maybe not even a Counterblast, maybe it'll be a Soul Blast. Who knows? But I do think he'll have the ability of self-revival, and he'll get big. He'll just get even bigger than before. And I think he might be, I think he'll be a rare or double rare. Then we got Commodore Blue Blood. This was the 10K vanilla originally, and I don't think he is one this time around. In fact, I don't think Oracle Think Tank or Nova Grappler got 10K vanillas in Q4. So I think Protect and Axel just don't get these in general. Now, what will this guy do? This one, I don't know. I think he'll get big, though. Like, generally speaking, Protect clans have units that get big to compensate for the fact that their stat lines are lower than that of Force units. So this one could also get plus 6,000 power if you have X or more cards in play or a drop zone. And if he is able to hit 15 or 16 consistently, then he will probably replace Negro Rook in premium format. Like, I'm just thinking which one of these cards will ultimately be the ones that go into my premium deck, because the Night Rose lineup is pretty tight. You've got really good cards like Negro Lazy and Skeleton Cannoneer, and I don't see those getting cut. And some of these cards are going to have to be really good to make me want to replace them. And then our last grade 2 so far is Ruin Shade. Ruin Shade has always just been very good on attack, mill, get big. She'll probably do something similar. Selective mill, get big. And this will be a double or triple rare. That one I'm pretty certain of, because New Ruin Shade was a triple rare originally. And I could very well see our other grade 3 being the double rare and this being a triple rare as a result. So as I kind of mentioned before, the first grade 3 out of this set is actually Dragon Undead Skull Dragon, which was a promo card of the original series, and might I add, one badass looking card at that. Like, this artwork is friggin' amazing, and I hope to God that this ends up being our origin rare, because this guy skill with the origin rare art will look pretty sick. I probably won't get it, but that's because ores will be pricey. But just pointing out there, like Ninden's done really good artwork in the past. Gauntlet Buster Dragon, Vowing Sword Dragon, Phantom Blaster Diablo. It goes on. So Undead Dragon Skull Dragon, Dragon Undead Skull Dragon. I'm gonna get those two mixed up all the time. Was I don't know when this initially came out because I wasn't really paying attention to Granblue back in the day, but he was more or less, I think, a prototype for hollowed attackers as a whole. As when he attacks and you have a Vanguard, you can have him gain power plus 3,000. No, he gets 3,000 power till the end of the battle, but at the end of the turn, he dies. So yeah, it's kind of like a prototype for Gas Dragon and Negro Rook. And then his other skill is you can counterblast one, sack a grade 2 or greater Granblue in order to call this thing from drop zone to rearguard circle. Which, just like Night Mist before, I think they could honestly keep the skill pretty close to that and it'll be good. The first skill, though, is going to be interesting how they'll rework it. He could very well just get power plus 6,000 on attack if you happen to have a certain setup, or maybe he won't even do that. Maybe he'll be, when he's placed on Vanguard or Rearguard, you get to call a dude from drop zone. Or probably he'll be an act Call of Duty from drop zone, because if he's placed, then that leads to some pretty silly interactions with Miss Phantasm, Pirate King, Night Rose. He wouldn't be hollow, so you don't get the benefits off of... No, wait. Nightstorm could call it, though. But that's like... Okay, so... Yeah, he probably would be act Call of thing if he was like that, or he's a big beefy attacker. If he was a big beefy attacker, then he'd probably replace Zombie Wheel, and in addition to that, he's also got the gift, as we can see in this art. So it's supposed to be, I think, a good utility grade 3 that also doesn't suck to ride just because you'll get that PG. But I think he'll be a double bear, and much like the Victory Deer before him, and he'll probably serve that kind of purpose. Or maybe he'll make your board big, because Victory Deer is kind of one of the win cons of the deck. But I'm looking forward to seeing what this guy does and his hopeful origin rare. And then we got King of Demonic Seas Baskirk as the VR. This one will be an interesting case because he was a Mega Blast unit as before, and I talked about this before, but his Mega Blast was very strong, and we've seen how they've done Mega Blast units now compared to before. Amaterasu's Mega Blast Retrain was actually pretty good, and I'm hoping they follow a similar vein, but because there's a VR, maybe he'll do more. Maybe he'll just be Counterblast 2, call 2 or 3 from drop zone, or maybe like, yeah, there's that possibility, or maybe he can superior ride himself from drop zone if you already have a grade 3 Vanguard in play, because I do feel like there's going to be some card in this set allows you to do that. Monster Frank's probably going to be in here, and it'll just be a vanilla that just rewrites itself from drop zone, which I guess would be okay. I don't know about that, but I do think, like, following VRs from before, this guy will let you go at least +1 to +2. In addition to that, have some kind of ability to make himself or your board big, and have some kind of pressure skill. The exception to this has been Perfect Riser and Alfred so far, and subsequently those are like the two worst clans out of that set. But this guy might very well be like Imperial Daughter and Waterfall. We'll see. At the very least, though, I do think he will be much stronger than Perfect Riser and Alfred, and just being able to call a couple cards wouldn't be that bad, especially if his cost is reasonable. Like, Counterblast 2 will suck if we don't have a good countercharge engine, so maybe he'll have some kind of built-in countercharge. I don't know if this will see play in the premium deck, though. I think, if anything, this one will be your ideal gift grade 3 for the Night Rose deck going there. But in standard, this will be our main ride, and then we'll probably have this, and then some other backup grade 3. Like, I think we'll probably get Night Storm in some capacity in this set, and maybe Cocytus as a triple rare grade 3 backup ride. Because I think this will be a double rare, and then our other grade 3, or 2 of our grade 3s will be Ruined Shade, and then some other card, but probably a grade 3. They might just pull a funny one and make Dandy Guy Romario a triple rare grade 1, because sure, why the hell not? But yeah, that's all I can really comment on regarding this stuff so far. Obviously, this is just a bunch of wild speculation on my part. I could be very right with these things, or I could be very wrong. Regardless, though, I'm looking forward to getting my hands on this deck, because Oracle Think Tank is going to be something I play just because I don't really have a deck or standard at the moment. But this is an actual clan that I care about, and I'm looking forward to being able to play with Granblue support for the first time in over a year. And I'll probably do a video like this again in the future for maybe Pale Moon but definitely Narukami if and when we finally get some actual cards for the set and what route they'll go, as I have ideas. But that's all for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you're a Granblue player, comment down below on what you think some of these cards will do, what you would like for these cards to do. How do you think the deck will follow based on how Oracle Think Tank and Mega Colony will? Will they go with selective milling to try and just set up the deck so you can trigger sack your opponent, or will it just be random milling like the Granblue decks of old? I really hope it is just like look at top 3 or 5, dump one, and move about your day, because that was really nice to have. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Until next time, this is BlueStar89, jacking out.